Hello again and welcome. Alright, so this is MrBusiness. We've covered many topics in the past. Today we are covering a great topic. This is probably one of the best topics to learn about because you're going to see it and it covers almost all the parts of business. Why? Because this is where we talk about the business, and it is the business plan. That's right, business plan. Alright, business plan. Let's go with that. Business plan. Alright. So, what is the business plan? What's its purpose? Well, a business plan is basically guidance and a lot of details on how to run the business. It covers all the parts as far as where you're going to see and where you're going to go. It's going to be three main things. I've seen a lot of people mess up business plans. The first thing, they get overly complicated. They make them like 100 pages. If I can't tell what your business is within 20 pages, I'm not going to see it in the other 80. I can guarantee you that, okay? Do not go beyond 20 pages on a business plan. You might have those details. You might want to put a whole lot in the appendix or something of your business plan. But the idea should shine through as far as what your business is and how it's going to actually work. And yes, you do need to do the research so that when you do make your assumptions, they're correct. First thing, though, I would focus on is this. Keep it simple. Even though it's going to cover a lot of parts, people have to read this. They have to understand it. Keep it simple and make it so it's actually useful. Okay? Simple and useful information. Second thing you're going to want to do to focus on is you're going to have to realize things change. Okay? The business plan is really a living document. Okay? Why? Because business changes. The environment changes. I mean, if you were to do a business plan and try and keep it the same within 5 to 10 years, let me tell you, it won't work. Things change a lot and you're going to have to do different things. Okay? You're going to have to figure out things and change it based on what's actually going on. Finally, because things change, you're going to have to do this. You're going to focus on the future. Okay? And it's usually just going to be a short future. It's going to be about 1 to 3 years. Okay? If you can go further than that, the only problem is when you go further than 1 to 3 years, you end up with the further you get out from where you currently are, the more unpredictable things become. It's just that simple. They become very, very unpredictable the further out you go. Okay? Yeah, I mean, you can have goals that are further out than 1 to 3 year, but I'm going to say as far as actually predicting the future accurately, further out you go, harder it is and the more unpredictable it becomes. Alright, so this has a lot of pieces, like I said. We're probably going to break up this episode. Let's go ahead and check out the first and actually most important part of the business plan. Okay? First and most important part. Alright, right there it is. The executive summary is the first part that we're going to talk about in this business plan. It is the most important part. And therefore, you should only put what inside of it? Only put important, okay? Only put important details, important information. Also, it shouldn't be more than a page. In fact, some of them are even down to like half a page. Because that's all you need if the person's really getting all that he needs. That's important. Other than that, okay, we have important 1 page. This is going to be the key thing that stands out. They need to know what we've talked about this in other episodes before. Competitive advantages. Alright? Think about that. If I'm an executive reading this page and I'm like, oh, this is just a whole nother business, same as all the other businesses out there, is there a reason to pursue this? No. We have to figure out where you're competitive. Okay, what are you going to do different? What's your competitive advantage? So, for example, let's say you're doing a shoe store. You sell shoes. Well, how are you going to sell shoes differently than other people? What's going to be your competitive advantage? Where's your niche? Where are you going to fit? How are you going to do things? Well, let's say your shoe store had something really awesome on it, where they could, I don't know, print on the shoes or whatnot. They could print on whatever images you wanted on shoes. Alright, I know there's a few out there, there's not too many, but if you're able to get the price low and it's not like a lot of the other businesses out there, you can get a competitive advantage going. Alright? And there's a whole lot of things like that. You just have to have something that stands out and they can quickly see it in the first thing. The final thing they need to see in there, and this needs to have a link to this section, They know you're serious if you actually know these, okay? If you've actually studied and know what your... Any guesses, anyone? All right. We want to know what your financials are, okay? Financials. I usually give you guys a little bit of space halfway through to see if you guys can guess them. Keeps it a little bit more interesting. All right, so we got financials. Big. If you don't know the financials, if you can't give me the basics as far as how much it's going to cost and how much we're going to get back, and then give me some place to refer to where you're actually getting these numbers from, that's going to be the whole thing I'm going to look for in executive summary. I'm going to first look at your competitive advantage, and then I'll go straight to financials. Especially if you're looking at for banks and other things like that, this is what they're looking for as well. Okay? Let's see. So we got our executive summary. We'll go ahead and do one more, and then we'll probably go ahead and then we'll start breaking up this episode into a couple because of how many things are in a business plan. Next part we're going to look at is, starts with an O, ends in an organization. Okay? Organization. In other words, they want to know, how will it be managed, okay? How will you manage the company? We'll have future episodes talking about more about organization. How will it be managed? It kind of lets them know a good chunk of like how the workflow will happen in the company, and basically if it's managed correctly. So, all right, let's move on to another one. Let's see. Let's do one that's going to be really big. All right, we're going to go right here. This is probably the biggest one you should have besides the executive summary. Is going in depth about the service or product. Okay. They want to know what makes your service or product different, and why you're actually wanting to go into this field. Do you see opportunities in there? Is it an emerging field where there's a lot of space we can go into? There's a lot of things we're going to look at. So first thing I want to say is they want to see what the business environment is, okay? Environment. Okay, they want to see that. Also, okay, in addition, they want to know, is there a story behind it? Okay. For example, if you're selling shoes, you got a style that you started that no one else has. I mean, they need to know, is there a story behind the service or product you're doing? Is it going to be amazing for some reason that you have some backstory that's going to really go into your products? Sort of like KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's not just chicken you're eating. They got the Colonel. The Colonel and the idea of that story of some Colonel Sanders with this secret recipe of 7 spices. Guess what that is? That's a whole lot of story. And his story worked. KFC has worked because of that. And some businesses rely a lot on story. And we'll talk about the power of story in some future episodes. But it's amazing how much story can actually add to your service and product, even though it's intangible. So you have the business environment you're going into. Is there actually prospects there? You have your individual story. Also, we just have anything unique about what you're going to do. Okay? So anything else that's unique about your service or product. And again, this all goes back to competitive advantage. Is there something you have that someone else doesn't? Makes it a lot easier to compete. All right, so we have covered executive summary, organization, which deals with how you're going to manage the company, and then we have service and product. Okay? We're going to split this off, and this will be the first part of this episode. Then we'll start a second part to cover all the other parts of the plan. So, even though we're splitting up this episode, we always have our questions. Okay? There's only going to be one question this time. You guys can also add others that you think are important about the business plans. All right, so here we go. Here's the question. What do you look for in executive summary? I told you about things that I look for. Are there other things that you would look for that I didn't say? Or are the things that I've mentioned, what do you think would actually end up in there? All right? So what do you look for in executive summary? And remember, if you got a couple minutes, you got 5 minutes, you got 10 minutes, you got 20 minutes, however many minutes you got, we'll take them. And if you got them, you can learn business. All right?